World Falun Dafa Day, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Emma Kay. I always enjoy hearing you sing. That was beautiful. So while dessert is being served, I'll introduce you to our next segment, which is a presentation by the Treasurer of the Falun Dafa Association here in Brisbane, John Dowie. John is originally from the UK, although he's been living here for the last 30 years. John came across Falun Dafa almost 20 years ago when he lived in Brisbane up in the Sunshine Coast. But he's since moved down here and he works at St Thomas More College just down the road. Please welcome John Dowie.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it really is a great pleasure for me to be here tonight. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about what Falun Gong is, what type of people practice Falun Gong, and the proven health benefits. Falun Gong is a traditional Qigong with its roots in ancient Chinese culture. It was passed down for thousands of years by a master to one trusted student. The master sought out the student, not the other way around. It was introduced to the people of China in 1992, May of 1992, by a gentleman named Master Li Hongzhi. I'll just get my pointer. It spread very quickly by word of mouth, and in just a few years there were tens of millions of people practicing Falun Gong in China. One of the traditions in China to practice Qigong is to be out in the parks in the early morning. So we started to see this sort of thing. Hundreds of people practicing Falun Gong exercise sites around China. This was a common sight. So there's hundreds of people at this practice site. There were hundreds of practice sites around China at the time. So it was a regular sight everywhere. This was Guangzhou in 1998. This is Wuhan City. One of the most interesting things about Falun Gong in the 90s was it attracted people from all walks of the society. We had people from the police force, military personnel, peasants, farmers. Everybody was practicing Falun Gong. One of the most interesting things about that time was nearly every member of the standing Politburo was practicing Falun Gong. Now that's the top brass of the Communist Party. For people who don't know what the Politburo is, that's kind of the equivalent to our cabinet in our federal government. This was all the ministerial level. So this was the top brass of the Communist Party. So this was Beijing. So this was a common sight. So with all these people practicing, it started to attract a lot of attention. So the practice started getting a lot of awards. These were awards, just a few of many awards in China. I've just briefly translated. Outstanding achievement, gold certificate award. My Chinese isn't very good, so this is very basic. And also the Falun Gong Master, the most acclaimed by the masses. So there was a lot of awards going on at that time. Now obviously the party was taking great interest in this, and they conducted their own survey. And by the late 90s they found 100 million people to be practicing Falun Gong in China alone. 100 million people. To give that some sort of perspective, that's 5 times the population of Australia. So that's an awful lot of people. Nearly 10% of China's population were practicing Falun Gong. This became a real movement. This was a real people's practice with everybody across the board practicing. Now, the Communist Party leader at that time, Jiang Zemin, conducted his own survey and found that there was about 100 million people practicing. So in July of 1999, he banned the practice in China. It was pretty well a sole decision, and it went against the grain, but he insisted that it would be banned, and so it was banned. And what followed was an unprecedented, brutal persecution of good people, which still continues to this day. While all this was going on in China, Falun Gong was spreading rapidly around the world, and it was received in many, many countries around the world. Came to Australia as well in the mid-90s to late 90s and spread all over Australia, and was welcomed in every city and some bush towns as well. So now Falun Gong would spread all around the world and was very popular, and many people were experiencing and enjoying the health benefits. So what I'd like to do now, ladies and gentlemen, is show you a very short video which shows the impact it had in the West. This next video talks about the practice and its health benefits.
Falun Dafa, also known as Falun Gong, is an advanced self-cultivation practice that improves mental and physical wellness through physical exercises and the development of one's character. In China, cultivation practices have a history of thousands of years and form the spiritual foundation of Chinese civilization. In 1992, Falun Dafa was introduced to the public by Master Li Hongzhi. The practice quickly spread because of its profound principles and proven health benefits. By 1999, with over 100 million practitioners, Falun Dafa had grown to become the largest practice of its kind in China and around the world. Traditional Chinese medicine focuses on energy channels and believes that the health of the body is related to the health of the mind. Falun Dafa cultivates mind and body simultaneously, improving the body's natural immunity.
I had a very, very bad immune system. I was sick all the time. And I came to the practice for spiritual reasons, but I immediately stopped getting sick. I kept thinking, why am I not getting sick? I kept saying, what's wrong? As a matter of fact, I go to parties now, and they used to say, oh, give the sick babies to Jeannie. She never gets sick.
I feel in my body that's very subtle and hard to describe, but it feels very good. I could have very little sleep and I'll feel awakened, but not like a coffee energetic, like a very calm and collected energy. And that 1 hour, it can feel like a day, and then I'm refreshed and ready to go.
So before I practiced Falun Gong, when I got scolded by my boss or supervisor, I was very annoyed, and immediately I would complain about others, or felt it wasn't fair. But after I started practicing, the biggest lesson I learned was looking inside and always find something to improve within myself.
If I didn't like something that another person did, I would think about, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that that person does that. And I realized that it was having a direct effect on my health by having that bad thought about that person. And as soon as I realized that, I changed my thinking so that I wouldn't think about what things I didn't like or liked about other people, and more just how I should be responsible to being a good person and controlling my thinking and quieting my thinking. And then the headaches went away.
The first time I heard about Falun Dafa was actually when I was 12 years old. At the time, I was going through a rebellious stage. I barely talked to my parents. I come home, slam the door. Meditation taught me to look within. I started talking to my parents more. I started respecting them more. So my mother was very happy because, it's like she got her son back.
In 1983, I was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy, which is incurable in Western and Eastern medicine. In February 1998, a friend from China wrote me a letter. She told me that Falun Dafa is a true practice that can improve people's morals as well as physical health. So I began to practice Falun Gong. In 3 months, I totally recovered.
At the core of Falun Dafa are the values of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. Falun Dafa teaches that these are the supreme qualities of the universe and takes them to be a guide for daily life and practice.
Well, when I was little, I would stare, at night, just sit on my bed and look at the stars and think, why were you here in the first place? Why do you even exist? And most of all, where do you come from? First time I read John Falun, the book on Falun Dafa, I felt a lot of those questions were just immediately answered.
I think the best benefit is the peace of mind. I have incredibly peace of mind. My family certainly has benefited. My husband said to me within a month I was much easier to live with.
Applying truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance to my daily life is the greatest challenge of my life, actually. You would think it's so simple, but therein lies the challenge. but everybody else around you feels it, you know, because you become lighter, you smile a lot more, and you become much more genuine.
It was like I was always searching for something, and it's so easy to think that what we're searching for is outside, whether it's money or clothes or beauty or whatever. And Falun Dafa just provided me with an inner peace that I just feel like whatever happens around me, I'm fine. Like I have these values and principles that I can follow. It's just like a sense of not security, but inner security and sense of calm and peace, which I didn't have before.
So, ladies and gentlemen, these experiences were happening all around the world, in the Western world and other Asian countries. So as a result, Falun Gong was receiving more awards, and they're just a few of them from all around the world. Everybody was learning about this amazing practice. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to show you another short video now. It's about a rock and roll drummer, a very famous, successful rock and roll drummer. He's played with a lot of famous names in the music industry. I think you'll find his story very interesting.
I've been doing it all my life. I've been doing this since I was 12 years old, and you know, it was just a natural thing for me to do. So I put a lot of hours into it, you know. You know, I come from a crazy story, you know, like with the music. The stuff I did, I don't even want to go into it because it was the absolute, you know, I was in a rock and roll environment and I completely went there. I went completely I wouldn't even think about the consequences. Yeah, I was addicted to cigarettes and drugs and alcohol. That's bad. Like crazy, I did it every day. It was part of the job description. I drank every night. I smoked every day. I had pot every day, you know, and other crazy drugs at one point or the other. So I seen some really, really crazy and did some really crazy things. You know, I was trying hard for years to break. I wanted out a long time ago. I just couldn't break the habit. For a walk in the park one day, and out the corner of my eye, I saw some people practicing Falun Dafa. So I went over, I watched it, and then there was a person who was kind of, you know, was there to help out if you had any questions, and I started speaking to that person, and, you know, the conversation kept going on. I became I don't know why I became interested, but it was like an instinctual feeling. See out the corner of my eye, I pick up the book, and this book is speaking to me. And I'm reading it, and I'm believing it. And I'm believing it. You know, this is it. You know, this is what I'm looking for. I started practicing, and 2 weeks later, that feeling of wanting to pick up a cigarette, that feeling of wanting to have a drink, that feeling of wanting to like smoke pot or something, it's gone. You know, I had zero interest of ever drinking or doing drugs or smoking pot or smoking a cigarette again. I just don't even have any interest to do that. You know, I also go out. I'll go out with friends. You know, I'm in the band, so I have to socialize. And we'll go to a bar, and I'm like, what are you drinking? I'm like, sparkling water. And what that leaves, that, wow, you can still go out and socialize, and you don't have to drink. So it is a huge transformation. So if anything, it, you know, and the people who know me when it was around it, they know that, oh, it's like, wow, you know, that's a big change. You know?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen that video so many times and I'm still so inspired when I see it. It's really a great story. Anyway, I'd like to just talk about the local practitioners now. We get involved in a lot of community activities and functions. And this particular picture was an activity we got involved in every year at Toowoomba Flower Festival. Probably a lot of you would know or heard about it. So our next video is about two local practitioners that live locally, and they wanted to share their stories and experiences with us here tonight. So we shot a little video of them. So they're very brave to stand up and do this in front of everybody, but I hope you enjoy the next video.
As a child, I was really sick in hospital, and my mother was looking for alternative therapies to help with my sickness. So my journey has been about looking at ways to get well and to stay well. When I came across Falun Dafa, I had a brochure in the mailbox, and I took it out and I went to the veranda and I sat down and I read the front of the brochure and the back of the brochure, and I said to my husband, this is what I've been looking for all my life.
I was in a particularly dark place at the time. I was suffering from depression. I used to get to quite an extreme point where I used to shut myself away at lunchtimes in the toilet, and I used to get to the point where I would smack myself around the face. I thought I was completely worthless to the world, didn't have a place in the world. So when I came over here and I met my now husband, I found out that he was practicing Falun Dafa, and it was amazing to see the energy and just the beautiful environment that he was practicing in. And I thought, well, let's give it a go, let's try this. And it was amazing the differences that I found almost immediately. Going along to the practice site was like walking into a family environment. It was so beautiful, everyone was so welcoming. And I did the practice there for the first time, and I remember going to work the following week and looking out the window at a beautiful day, wishing I was back at New Farm Park doing the exercises, because it was just so beautiful. And just over time, the tools really, really helped me in my journey and helped me put away all the negative thoughts and all of the negative feelings. It gave me the tools to be able to really push through those. And that's what I love so much about the practice, that it's something you can use in your everyday life. It's not something that you do once a week or twice a week. You use it daily. So every interaction you have at work, every interaction with your family, every negative thought that may come up into your mind, you have the tools to be able to push past any negativity and push through. And there's always a particular part in the book which in my understanding, and I love every time I read it, and it talks about a bottle of heavy or silt in it, and obviously this is my interpretation, but the more that can get pushed down to the bottom, that's all your negativity, and you're pushed and you're heavy and you're dark place. And then over time, as you let things go and you just get lighter and lighter and brighter, and you float to the top, and there's nothing that you can do to push that down because you're just full of all of this beautiful energy. And I think that really resonated with me, and it's true to me every day.
When I came across Falun Gong, what I liked about it was the fact that I could actually do the exercises to help my health and also incorporate the principles of Falun Gong in my life on a daily basis. So my character improved, I became a better person, and at the same time my health improved. And so it was basically cultivating my body and mind, which is what I'd been looking for. And again, it's been the foundation of who I am right to this day today.
I was told by doctors when I was younger that I suffered from PCOS, and I would struggle immensely to have children, but the beautiful energy that you are cultivating with the practice just gets rid of any abnormalities within your body. And as I say, this is living, breathing proof of it, so I can only be thankful every day.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, those two ladies are here with us tonight, and I'm sure if anybody wants to talk to them afterwards, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to talk. Would those two ladies like to put their hands up, please? There you go. Thank you, Louise and Christy. It was great fun shooting those videos with you. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all very much for listening to our presentation tonight. It's really been a great pleasure to present this phenomenal practice to you all. Thank you all very much for listening.
We're at World Falun Dafa Day here in Brisbane, and that was just some of the entertainment on tonight, and I think the MC is coming back on now, maybe some music. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you want to find out more, go to falundafa.org. Hope you're having a good night wherever you are. We'll catch you
So
again
the final
soon.
performance for this evening will come from 12-year-old Zoe.